the Irish Song and Recitation Festival, home of song, story, and poetical proverb. You are at the Irish Roots Cafe, and I am Mick the Bridge, your host. This is one of 3 broadcast series here at the cafe. The other 2 cover Irish family history worldwide and the history of the Irish in America. Oroche da Vahawalia. So step right up to the microphone, folks. Consider calling in at 816-256-3360. Then you just speak, sing, or play your piece proudly into my phone recorder. If it fits, we will place it on the air in a future show. But remember, it's all for free and it's all for fun, and tens of thousands of our listeners are looking forward to each show. And why is that? Because every day's a holiday at the Irish Roots Cafe. Reach me anytime, and be sure to read my show notes for this episode on my webpage at www.irishroots.com. Now let's move into the big back room here at the cafe and have a listen to what's being served up today. Welcome to the Irish Roots Cafe, where every day's a holiday and there's always room for one more. Boy, today we've got a very special guest. As a matter of fact, I came in and I thought, well, all we really serve on days like today, it's the 4th day of the festival, is just a little sausage and maybe a biscuit because our regular cook wouldn't be able to come in. But I tell you what, I walked in and the whole place was lining up with their plates and knives and forks in their hands. I didn't know what was going on. Somebody had come in and warmed up our kitchen and started serving things up, and guess who it was? It was Connie Dover. Connie, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. What'd you cook them this morning? What got them all going?
Well, I started out with just a very simple antelope stew.
Antelope stew? Mm-hmm. Did you bring your own antelope?
Well, the antelope brought itself, actually. So a little antelope stew, just with carrots, potatoes, onions, something very basic. You can replace it with lamb if you like. And then we had a small side of rattlesnake fritters that were just rolled in Krusty's pancake batter and lightly fried in a skillet over this campfire that I have going right outside.
And you learned that in, where at, in the American West?
I learned it in Wyoming.
Oh my gosh, Wyoming, boy, that's the lowest population per square acre in America, I think.
Yes, it is the least populous state, which is just fine by me.
That's right. Well, you did well. And did you do any singing out there by the campfire, or were you incognito?
Well, I didn't have to be incognito, but I suppose I was. I worked as a camp cook at a ranch out there for many years, at several ranches, actually. It's something that I still do every year, and I developed cooking skills I never dreamt would enter my life when I started working out there, because there's a lot of game on the ranch, and I don't mean monopoly. The ranch cook's motto, which I'm sure is not too PC, is "We'll cook anything you can catch, kill, or find." And so because of that, I started learning the glories of cooking Wyoming wildlife, which I'd actually much rather look at it than eat it, but that is in my past history.
Boy, it's amazing. I think you've got a lot in your past history. Now, I first ran onto you, I think it was back in the 1980s when I first heard your voice, and I thought, boy, this girl is great. Or should I say this woman is great? Oh, you were so young back then.
Girl is fine.
Yes, girl. You still, just about hitting 25, 26.
Okay, well, we'll say that approximately.
No,
you
that's
could
right.
round up if you want.
That's right. Well, and I heard you singing with Scartaglen, that sort of a new group for Kansas City for sure, and it had that Irish sound with some modern innovation in it, and your voice came along. You never know what you'd hear, a sea chanty or a great ballad or air, or would it be Sean Nose too? Was that
Some
those?
of it. I did some unaccompanied singing in the Irish style, and a lot of people refer to it as sean-nós singing. I really do more simple unaccompanied songs in my own style using Irish songs and Irish material. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a sean-nós singer. But yes, in Scartaglen, there were a number of us in the band, as you know, and we all brought different ideas and inspirations to it. So we really covered a wide variety of Irish music and definitely beyond.
Well, since I'm not a singer, I'm just a drummer. I don't really have that kind of skill. But when you use, there's probably some certain things you look and see and you say, well, that's sort of an Irish influence, or that's how the Irish would do it. Can you give us some examples of what that might mean in some instances?
Well, certainly there's a type of ornamentation style that seems to be particular to Irish music. But sometimes if I'm on stage and I'm singing a song and for example, I sing through bushes and through briars, as opposed to through bushes and through briars. You'll hear a difference there. And what I did on the first phrase is just simply use a few techniques that are common in Irish unaccompanied singing, what we call ornamentation and note decoration.
Right.
Working with that, playing with the phrasing a little bit, pushing and pulling and using some slide notes. These are stylistic devices that are common in all kinds of musics, but when you put them together a certain way, it starts to really define what Irish music is about.
Well, now, in the presentation on a song like that, would the Irish style be one of being very still when you sang it, or would you tend more to make motions or to move with the music? I mean, like you see Sinead O'Connor might dance on the stage to everything she sings sometimes, but you see some of these old folks from way back when singing some of the old songs or chants, and they're very still. You might just see their eyebrows beaten to the sound of the music and nothing else. Is that part of it, or is that just old style?
Well, it's certainly been part of it as far as I've seen, and certainly how I interpret. Of course, I can't dance, so that rules that out right away.
You can't. Did you say you can't dance?
Oh, no.
You know the rhythm, you know the beats, you know the counts.
I know them in my head. It's the rest of my body I'm having trouble marshaling forces with.
A little shy, I can see.
That's right. But people, the thought is that it's really about the song and not about the singer.
Right.
And so when you go for entertainment, sometimes of course you might go to hear a particular singer or musician, but I think the thought is not to make it so much about me, Connie, but just about communicating the song. And there are stories and traditions of people who actually turn their back to the listeners and sit in a chair and just sing. It's really not about the singer as it is about conveying the heart of the song.
Yeah, that's right. Boy, that's nice. Now, you've also written, do you write your own music?
Sometimes. About, a third of the music on my CDs is my own. I try to write in a traditional style and kind of integrate everything together. I think it really is kind of a hodgepodge, but I try to kind of stay faithful to song forms that I like and just come up with my own music.
Well, the festival's been going on for 4 years now, and of course, the second year you were the Grand Master, and that was one of the songs you wrote yourself, I think. What was that your favorite one? What was your favorite?
I'm trying to remember. Where were we?
This was a few years back. We've only been here 4 years, so
Okay.
it was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And it was, they said it was your favorite. Actually, there was a little Connie Dover fan club, and they drafted you in here, and I think they pulled you in off the street because you weren't even going to show up. You hadn't even heard about it. Mm-hmm. And you came in and made your presentation, and you took the crowd by storm. And so what song was that you sung that took the blue ribbon that year?
Well, I think this wasn't one of my own, but it's a very beautiful Irish song, a traditional one called Shule, Aroon, and it's one of my favorites. And if you want to, do you want to hear a little bit of that?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
All right.
Yeah.
The whole thing, all 89 verses?
89, well, maybe just 40.
Okay, I can do that.
Great.
Here we go. Feel free to sing along. I would I were on yonder hill. It's there I'd sit and cry my fill, and every tear would turn a mill. Iskojaitu movun in Islam. I'll sell my rock, I'll sell my reel, I'll sell my only spinning wheel to buy my love a sword of steel. Iskojaitu movun in Islam. Shule, 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 Aroon. Shule go sokirega, Shule go kyun. Shule go doresaga sailam. Iskojaitu movun in Islam. I'll dye my petticoats, I'll dye them red, and it's round the world I'll beg for bread, until my parents would wish me dead. Iskojaitu movun in Islam. I wish in vain. I wish I had my heart again, and vainly think I'd not complain. Iskojaitu movun in Islam. But now my love has gone to France to try his fortune to advance. If he e'er comes back, 'tis but a chance. Iskojaitu movun in Islam. Shule, 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 Aroon. Shule go sokirega, Shule go kyun. Shule go doresaga sailam. Iskojaitu movun in Islam.
Oh, beautiful. That's so soothing, such a soothing sound.
It is, isn't it? It's a lovely melody, and as long as you don't know what the words mean, you're very happy.
And those last two words, Mavernin Slan?
Mavornin, my love, or my dear,
Right.
or my darling, and Slan,
So
easily.
long, or-
Iskojetu Mavornin Slan means, may you go, my love, or may you go easily or safely, my love.
Yes, yes. And that, boy, I can see why that took the crowd that day.
Yes, it's one of those three hanky or pin drop songs.
Well, now, how many? I see that your songs are on Amazon. You can buy them as an MP3 file or as a true album.
You can buy them as CDs, and I know that you're available as downloadable MP3 files. I think through iTunes. CD Baby, outlets like that, plus
Right,
also through
right.
my website.
Well, now, how many albums do you have, and what would you recommend for somebody who's looking to buy one of your albums, maybe for the first time? Which one do you think they ought to get?
I would start with something that has a lot of Irish and Scottish songs. And some of my CDs are really mixtures of all kinds of music, although they have a traditional feel. The CD that the Shule Aroon that I just sang for you, that I recorded it on, that CD is called The Wishing Well. And I recorded that in Edinburgh, Scotland. Phil Cunningham produced the CD, and we recorded it in a beautiful old recording studio that had originally been a big stone gatehouse. Or a carriage house, that's what it was, a carriage house.
Oh, nice.
Not too far from Edinburgh Castle.
Perfect atmosphere.
Yes, lots of pubs nearby, so you were able to really partake of the culture and its full bloom.
Yeah, well, you could feel them. You'd actually be brought back a couple of hundred years just by being there, I would think.
It was nice to be steeped in the place. I really did enjoy it. I didn't get out as much as you think you do, because when you're recording, at least the way I record, I tend to I work really hard. But when I was all over, I had a great deal of fun, and we went out a lot and saw a lot of the city and of Scotland.
Boy, that does sound like fun. You're the real deal. I wonder if somebody wants those, is the best way to order them through Amazon or through iTunes, or can they order them direct through your publishing company?
They can go directly through my website if they like, which is always a fine, kind thing for interested listeners to do. ConnieDover.com is the site, and there's an online secure orders page that allows you to order the CDs. And you can also go to iTunes if you want to do the download thing and do the MP3 thing.
Right, that's where most people get this podcast, or at least about 40% come from iTunes.
Is that right?
Yeah. So that's really been a boon for little experimental things.
It's changing the world very quickly.
Yes, it is. Who could have the power to do this before? Without this, it was impossible for an individual to reach out so easily.
Yeah, you couldn't have done anything like this. First of all, recording on your own was fairly difficult.
That's
Not
right.
not to mention having access to equipment that was operatable, and then of course distribution also really wasn't even a concept that was viable for most people. You had to go through major record labels and get a deal if you wanted to be heard.
Yeah, the only game in town. Mm-hmm. And so now you've got 3 albums out?
I have 4 of my own, plus a number that I've just been on as a guest artist, plus the Scartaglen CDs and compilations here and there too.
Oh, that's right. What about what if they bought their first album of you? What do you think they'll go to next?
I would maybe go to one called If Ever I Return, which I recorded in the Highlands of Scotland,
Oh, my.
outside of Inverness, in a little village called the Crask of Igus.
Boy, they say the Highland Scots are the closest thing to the original Irish that ever were, as far as the bloodlines. And that the Highland Scots remain preserved, and then the Lowland Scots got ameliorated with other genetic lines, but they're supposed to be very, very close. Mm-hmm. What do you mainly consider yourself? I noticed on your bio it said you had a little bit of Indian, a little bit of this or that, and Scots.
Yes, I'm Scots and Irish on both sides of my family, from both of my parents, but I also have a grandfather who was Mexican and a grandfather who was Cherokee. So it's all mixed in there together, a nice healthy
Perfect.
balance.
That's more American than anything I can imagine.
I suppose so.
Do you remember the Irish surnames themselves, what they were?
Let's see.
We're sort of fanatical around here. We look at all these
is
names.
Tipton Irish?
Tipton can be.
Okay, definitely Tipton. Then there was actually one grandmother's called Williams, so she was definitely Welsh. Dover, I suppose, speaks for itself.
Yes.
That's all I can think of right now.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell what the Irish is, because you end up with just one name out of the union of 2 people, and you forget that 50% of you was Irish.
That's
back then.
right. That's absolutely right.
Well, now you've also written a book of poetry. I wonder if we could get a reading from that book, and you give us the title of the book and how people can find it, and then give us a reading from it, and maybe one of your favorite selections.
I'd be glad to. Thank you. The book is called Winter Count, and I would just like to make a disclaimer and say that I never meant to write poetry. And so
It was an accident.
it really was an accident. I went with a friend to some poetry readings at a great bookstore in Kansas City called Prospero's.
Right.
On 39th Street, and about every month or so they would have these poetry readings where people would just go in a circle and read their original work. And I was a fly on the wall the first couple of times, but I was utterly fascinated by what I was hearing. People were reading so honestly and so passionately about themselves or their observations that I just caught the bug. And so I started writing too, just so I would have something to bring to the readings. And then the publisher of a local press, his name was Will Latham, who's also the head of the Writer's Place right now and an owner of Prospero's Books, had established a publishing company for independent poets and asked if I'd like to publish something through them. And so we just put this book out called Winter Count.
Boy, it's a labor of love. I can't wait. Let's hear it now.
I know the big poetry royalty bucks are going to come rolling in soon, Mike. And
Well, you never know. It's just that one little connection you make that makes it all worthwhile.
that's absolutely right. I'm not counting on it. You just have to love it. This is a poem called Winter Count, the title poem of the book. This is not the rhyming kind of poetry, by the way. Winter Count. Every day I ride the crosstown bus from Blue Ridge Cutoff to Independence Avenue to Prairie Village and back. I pass tall buildings that block the sun, tough earth where nothing grows, people with tight mouths walking to no home, and I know I must make a dream for myself to keep my heart strong. I lay my head against the glass and call forth a vision to shield me. Moon of frost on the teepee, moon of white ermine, moon when the deer strip bark, moon of returning geese, moon of young grass appearing, moon when the sun opens daisies, moon of black chokecherries, moon when the bison graze, moon of dragonflies floating, moon when the plums are scarlet, moon when the pollen falls from the tassel, moon of dropping leaves. We mark the year, winter count of our content. And as for me, I can flesh the hide of an elk, I can split fine sinew, I can sew leggings from the smoked tops of lodges, I can bring fire in all weathers, call a trout into my hands or a meadowlark, and stroke him until he sleeps. I know the secret of the 7 arrows. And as for me, I would go away from my people in this place. I would braid my hair and put aside cloth dresses. I would cut up my credit cards. These things I would do, and all the day long I would sing at my work. He honors me. He honors me. If only the human being they call red-armed panther, the proud one who follows me with his eyes, would trade his 9 fat ponies to my father and bring me under his blanket. This is the dream I make for myself on the bus to keep my heart strong. This is the vision I call forth.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
You got some of your Indian heritage in there.
I did.
Quite
A
strongly.
lot of what informs me, at least makes up my mental furniture that only I can see, is time spent out west and life out there. And so I carry that around with me. And sometimes it spills out in various unexpected
Hey,
ways.
have you got that on your webpage too?
I haven't. The book is for sale through my website, but I haven't posted any of my poetry yet. I suppose I need to do that.
And I think you ought to post little commentaries that we could help you out with too. A little podcast, little MP3 file where you just make little comments on things or give a little excerpt.
You think anybody'd be interested?
I think all of a sudden you'd have more people listening. Of course, you'd have to start out for free.
I'm used to free.
Just give the first stanza or so.
I'm only shocked when I'm paid.
That's right. That's a wrapper for today, folks. I'm Mick the Bridge at the Irish Roots Cafe. You can contact me at mike@irishroots.com or send your submission or your notes to Box 7575, Kansas City, Missouri, 64116. And you can always reach me on the web at www.irishroots.com. Call up and leave me your message or your entry on my phone recording machine at 256-3360. Just do it today. And oh yes, any donation to keep this show going is appreciated. And remember, keep the best of your Irish heritage alive today.